This is total.
Hey, what the hell are we recording?
Yeah, and you're screwing up the intro.
What about my part? It's supposed to be our podcast, right?
Come on, man. I'm trying to be professional about this.
You know damn well there ain't nothing professional about what we're doing here. Welcome to Totally Unprofessional. It's Manuel and Justin, his two best friends shooting the breeze about nothing and about everything. We're separated by 10 years, 2 points of view on every subject from 2 different generations. Listen as we talk sports, events, and anything else that might come up. There's nothing professional about what we're doing here, hence the name, Totally Unprofessional.
All right, it's the Friday edition. We are back. Today is...
Hotter than shit.
It's hotter than shit, but it officially is Friday the 13th of May. If you're into that type of deal, today's a big day in horror shit.
And voodoo.
Yeah.
Superstition.
Yes. I've never been one to watch horror movies and the Friday the 13th stuff, so it was never a big deal to me.
Well, before they got ridiculous, they were okay. Uh-oh, the damn dog again, huh?
Is that the dog?
Yeah.
Sounds like a damn turkey.
No, it's a dog.
Oh. I was like, what is that?
Tried for some circulation, it's not working.
So we're going to sweat it out in here.
For those of you who are listening to this one for the first time, or maybe don't have the whole background, we're in the garage until we get our $1 million studio.
Yeah.
We work out of here. We just pod out of here, and it was good until today. This is actually the first one it's hot, huh?
Yeah, this is the first one that's officially hot. If you're looking for us on social media, we are on Instagram at totally_unprofessional. On YouTube, the podcast is up. It is Totally Unprofessional Podcast, and we are also on Podbean, but you actually spelled it wrong.
I spelled pod or bean wrong.
No, you spelled professional wrong.
No, that's the only way I could take it. The other one was
so if you're searching for it spelled the correct way, that's why you're not finding it. It's actually spelled a different way. It's totally, and then the unprofessional is UNPROF. It's one FESSIONAL is what it is.
Fair enough.
So it's spelled off wrong, but
Should
that's how you can find it. But if not, I have the links. I put them up on our Instagram page. So if you have any trouble finding it, you can always go back there, and everybody has Instagram.
Should be up on iTunes here pretty soon. We're just waiting for the last approvals for that one too, but that shouldn't be too much longer. Got a busy weekend coming up. Coming off of a busy ass week. First and foremost, I promised I'd do this. We had a bet. I lost a bet on our Tuesday night basketball game. For those of you who don't know, we play in an adult men's league over in Reedley, and we got beat up on Tuesday night by Nelson Sanchez and his team.
What?
I had to say his name.
Really?
It's part of the deal.
What? Oh, yeah, I didn't know that was part of the deal.
I had to give him his call out. His team. I don't remember the Mamones or something like that. I don't remember their name. But I told him I'd give him a shout out. What is this? What the hell is their name? Team Dynamite.
Yeah,
okay,
Dynamite.
Yeah. They put an ass whooping on us. We forgot to show up on Tuesday. And ironically, we're still in the race for the playoffs. Yeah. So we'll see what the standings look like next Tuesday. But we had 2 games this week. I only had 5 there yesterday. Like I said, it's just a busy week. I know for me it was a busy week. With the girls getting ready to graduate, it's got a lot going on here at home. We got spring choir show tonight. Had it last night. Have it again tomorrow. For those of you that know my family, Janessa's coming home tomorrow. We'll pick her and her boyfriend up at the airport over in Fresno about 10-ish, I think, 10:30.
So what time do I need to be here with my gun for the boyfriend?
So for those of you that don't know, my 19-year-old daughter is in college. She goes to college over at Tabor in Kansas, and she met her boyfriend out there. He is a center for the Tabor College football team. That guy. So when I hear center, I hear college lineman. You know, generally you think of some beast of a man. You know, 6'3", 6'4", pushing 3 bills, easy for linemen. You know. So I'm rapping with him the other day on the phone, and I said, "So you're a lineman, right? A D lineman?" He says, "No, I'm a center." I was like, "So you're pretty big, right?" He goes, "Oh."
Wait, hold on, time out. So you're saying that he enjoys getting down on all fours with another man's hands underneath his sack?
That's not what I said.
No. Okay, maybe not verbatim, but that's what he does.
If that's how you want to word it, I was a lineman.
Word it. That's what the hell happens when you're the center.
I was a lineman. Okay. I didn't like playing center because I didn't want the quarterback's hands on my sack. All right, but hey, you know what? If that's how you get your
can play the line and not have another man's hands under your ball.
Exactly. I was a guard, so that's But so I envision this real big guy, and the guy is Hawaiian, so I mean he's a big guy. But
that don't scare me.
He's all of 5'10", and he's like pushing 240.
I'll be looking down.
So I've got him by 15 pounds, and from what I hear, I bench just as much as he does.
I got him by 4 inches in height. I'll be looking down. He'll be looking up at me. That's right.
His pictures online though, they look like a big guy, but. I told Christina I was going to wear my Reebok workout shirt. I was going to suck in the gut a little more.
There you go.
Going to peacock it around the airport.
There you go.
The only problem with that is I might attract some attention from women doing that too. So hopefully she's okay with that.
But make sure you don't want to rile up a crowd. We don't want to do that.
So he's coming down with her. He's going to stay here for a couple of days. It was cheaper for his family to get him a ticket from there to here and then fly him out of here to Hawaii. So he'll be kicking with us for a couple of days. I think till Thursday of next week he's leaving. I was able to get him a cheaper ticket through one of my rewards programs than his family could. So I was glad to help out the family like that. That's awesome. Good. You help anybody anywhere you can, and little things like that to me it's what matters. So so they'll be back tomorrow morning. We'll pick them up in Fresno, and of course the Asian, she's going to be shopping. She's got some last minute stuff she wants to buy from the United States before she heads back. She heads back next Wednesday.
Right.
So she'll go back to Kyrgyzstan, and we'll miss her.
Hopefully she'll stay in touch.
But we are sending her completely and 100% Americanized. So
that's no doubt. That's no doubt.
So
what is she not allowed to take back out of the country? Because I've never been out of the country. So.
My understanding of it is fruits and vegetables are obviously a given.
Right.
Certain things that import-export. I mean, she's going to be on a plane for 20-something hours, so... I mean, I would imagine you're not going to want to transport fruit or vegetables anyways.
Right.
But as far as I know, outside of food items, and of course, like prescription drugs and stuff like that, she's taking back, American clothes with her. Some name brand stuff from here. I encouraged her to not spend her money on too much because, well, it's just clothes.
Yeah.
But she insists there's this big old thing on American clothes in that country. So I told her, man, I need to rap with your dad, and we need to get together and open an American clothing store. There's some money to be made there, always looking for, and her dad's a businessman out there, so there's definitely opportunity, I'm sure. But we're gonna miss her. She leaves. We drop her off Wednesday night, and for those of you listening, trying to stalk my house, if you somehow manage to get by the alarm, my killer lab in there will eat you alive if you try.
She's no joke.
So good luck with that if you're taking this information down. So we've had a real busy week. We had the game Tuesday. Manuel's choir concert was on Wednesday.
Yep.
We had...
then his awards were Thursday.
Or his awards were Thursday. And just back and forth. Only managed to get to the gym 3 times of the 4 days this week, but get in what you can. So got a lot of sports stuff going on again, of course. Of course, the Thunder beat the Spurs last night. And it wasn't close. I was kind of surprised.
Locked in the Western Conference Finals.
Yeah.
It'll be OKC and Golden State.
There's a lot of talk about OKC can't do it, but... They said the victory out of this is that they beat San Antonio, so now maybe Kevin Durant will stay. That'd be interesting to see how that plays out at the end of the season. They said Donovan wasn't going to leave. Not Donovan. Yeah, it is Donovan, right?
That's their coach.
Yeah, he wasn't going to leave Florida for a job where Durant was going to run away. So he's hoping to have Durant for 2 or 3 years. Player here, player there.
Hey, to be honest, even if he doesn't, that frees up some cap space where they can get a good second-tier player to back up Russell Westbrook. Because let's be honest, I don't care how good Kevin Durant is, that's Russell Westbrook's team.
Yes. So, for sure. Durant just kind of fills in the big gaps that are there. He had 37 last night, showed back up out of nowhere, and that's the difference, Bigger than that, though, to me, was the big discussion this morning was more about the Spurs. Mm-hmm. And how we may have seen the last time Parker, Ginobili, and Duncan take the court together. They're talking about Duncan's salary manageable, Ginobili's salary manageable. I did not know this. Parker's due to make $14 million over the next 2 years.
Yep.
33-year-old guard. Hey man, I'd say he's doing pretty well for himself. Mm-hmm. And if he decides to stay, they're thinking it's all hinging on what Duncan does.
Yeah.
If Duncan decides there's 1 more year, everybody will come back, and again they'll be in the semis again, at least.
Yeah.
if they can get Parker to maybe restructure, they could probably pick up another player.
I don't see why they wouldn't, or why he wouldn't. I mean, they just got LaMarcus Aldridge this year.
Yeah.
David West was a decent role player, but I think that they can find some pieces that can fit in. They can trim some fat and work some other guys in, 1 or 2 guys, and get right back to where they were. I saw an interview from today, this morning, and it was Tim Duncan, and they were asking him about being in the league so long now that he's up at the top of that list with Kobe retiring this year, that now he's, the elder in the NBA. And they said, how do you feel with all these younger guys, the game getting younger and transitioning into how it's played and stuff? And he goes, we have guys that come in and go, hey, man, I had your poster on my wall when I played. And he goes, the only thing I tell him is, shut up. I don't want to talk to you.
That's funny. That's funny. Yeah, definitely old school. A lot of talk about that. How the game's evolved, how it's changed from coming down the court, dumping it to the big man and letting him decide if he was going to kick it back out or go strong, to pretty much the guards running the tape now. We saw Cleveland the other night made 25 threes in the game.
Yep.
I mean, hey, somebody go to the rack, Somebody attack, man. But hey, you know what? If that's what it is, that's what it is. The games, they evolve. Athletes evolve. It's not just basketball. It is every sport. They go in different directions, and this one just happens to be going in that direction where it's a 3-point shooting. I mean, shit, we're dealing with that in the men's league.
Yep.
You can't give a pickup player in an adult men's league 2 feet of space, or he knocks down a 3 in your face. It happened to us a couple of times the other night. They don't want to pick and roll, especially when I'm standing in front of them. They're not going to get very far. And so they take that step back, wide open 3s. A lot of those guys knock them down. I mean, a lot of our guys knock them down when they're wide open. So, game's evolved. That game has definitely evolved a little bit.
Absolutely. UFC 198 this weekend. Tomorrow, actually, they had the weigh-ins today. The main event for Fabricio Verdum versus... help me out here. Who's he fighting? He's fighting... damn it, I know who it is. Stipe Miocic.
Okay.
Is who it is. It was supposed to be like the best card of the year behind UFC 200. So it was supposed to be like the best card to date. And then announced yesterday morning, Anderson Silva pulled out. So he's not.
So he's not on the card.
He's not on the card. So him and Uriah Hall, that fight got pulled off.
So you got what's his name? Weirdham?
Fabricio Verdum.
Verdum. It's a W.
Yeah, it's
okay.
He's
So
Brazilian.
I'm just making sure.
Or Mexican, one of the two.
Miocic.
Yeah.
Stipe Miocic. You got Souza and Belfort.
Yeah, Vitor.
You got Cyborg and Smith.
Oh yes, Chris Cyborg's debut. I saw her today at the weigh-ins. Good God, she looks sucked up.
Does she?
She's a catchweight fighter because normally she fights at 145.
Yeah.
And they don't have a 145 in the UFC. The highest they go is bantamweight at 135. So Leslie Smith, hats off to you for taking this fight with Cyborg, because she's known to rip people's face off like a chimpanzee that's pissed off.
Here's a telltale for you right here. Okay, Cyborg's 15-1. Smith is 8-6-1.
Yeah.
That's not going to end well.
Here's what's funny about that. If you're the UFC and you bring in somebody like Cyborg, who they've been trying to get in the UFC for a while, she's been under contract with Zuffa, but in the actual UFC, she's had problems with weight. She's been busted for steroids, all kinds of different stuff. So this is finally her first opportunity for her to show. Don't you think that they would have wanted a bigger name than a Leslie Smith, who's 8-6-1, to fight her? So
yes and no. You
so
also don't want her to come in and fail.
Well, here's the thing. Something tells me that they went somewhere in the lower end on the top side of the women in the bantamweight division and said, hey, we would like you to fight Cyborg. And they all went, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. And unless it would have been like Misha, Holly, Amanda Nunes, somebody on the top end of that,
and
who would have said yes.
I'm surprised none of those women saw that and went, hey, wait a minute.
Well, Misha, they're not going to give her a straight shot at the title with Misha at 135. They're just not. Because if there's a weight issue there, then that's a problem.
True.
Right? You're losing that title fight right off the top.
Yeah.
And so this essentially is a tune-up fight for Cyborg, is what it is. They're feeding her Leslie Smith at 140 at a catchweight to see how bad the weight cut is for her to get down to 135, because, like I said, they don't acknowledge a 145, a featherweight for women. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens and see how she adapts to the weight cut, because although it is only 5 more pounds than what she normally
It's
cuts
a lot
to,
of weight.
that
is a
5
lot,
pounds makes a difference.
5 is a lot of pounds.
So
we got Rua and Corey Anderson.
Yep, Shogun Hood.
You got Warley Alves and Brian Barberena.
Okay.
Damian Maya. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
I love to watch that guy fight. Matt Brown.
Yep.
Thiago Santos and Nate Marquardt.
Marquette, whatever it is.
Francisco Trinidaldo and Yanti Medeiros.
Mm-hmm.
You got Lineker and Font. Noguera. Antonio Rogero Noguera.
Yeah, it's Little Nog.
And Patrick Cummins, Sergio Morez, and Luan Chagas. Renato Mochiano and Zubaira. Oh, good luck with that one. Dude, let's see. Tuka Hugaf. That's as good as I'm going to give you there.
Fair enough.
Big card.
Yeah, it's a bigger card. It's supposed to be, attendance-wise, the biggest one in the UFC. It's supposed to surpass the Australia one.
Wow. So up until 200, that'll be the big one, huh?
Well, attendance-wise, they're not going to touch it because T-Mobile Arena only holds so much.
Yeah.
And you're going into a bigger stadium feel, which is what happened in Australia for the Holly Holm Ronda Rousey fight, which was why they had as many as they did. This is supposed to surpass that. I think Australia, this isn't for sure, don't quote me on this, I think it was somewhere around 32,000 people was sitting in Australia at the soccer stadium. This one is expected to hit 40,000. So we'll see.
Nice. Got some boxing going on tonight. They usually picks up Friday night fights. It's good fights to watch. But you got Manfredo Jr. making a comeback here. That's a guy. He can definitely turn some eyebrows if he starts winning again. You got just a bunch of stuff going on. Not the Cavs. Aren't Miami and
they're playing right now.
They're playing right now.
It started at 4:00.
So you got a lot of stuff going on, but sports is really always a backdrop. We just kind of recap everything, go through. I should have checked hockey, man. I heard it's getting pretty
Sharks
intense
won
now.
last night.
Okay.
So they're advancing to the conference finals, which is a big deal. It's only like their 4th time in history that they're doing that. So they're doing well. But that's all I kind of keep up with is the California teams because we live in California. So.
Yeah.
And hockey is a Canadian sport, so I still don't even understand all the rules.
You mean America Junior?
Yeah.
Used to hear that on Rome all of the time. It's funny. Used to make fun of Canada. And then of course, you get Canadians calling in, making fun of the United States.
Yeah.
United States guys calling in, making fun of the Canadians. It used to go both ways all the time.
The Great White North.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean where nobody's at?
Yeah. The last great frontier, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
So actually, no. Did they start yet? It doesn't show the Raptors and Heat is starting yet.
No.
No.
I thought it started at 4.
Not
Maybe
quite.
5.
The Players Championship this weekend.
Oh.
That's over at the TPC in Florida.
Sawgrass?
Yeah, a place I'm dying to play, man. I see pictures of it, and I want to get out there. That's like a great stadium. Their signature hole is, I believe it's 16. It's a par 3. Usually plays somewhere between like 105 and 150. The marquee yardage is usually about $135 because it's an island green. So you got this, and it's funny, if you hit the wrong portion of the green, your ball will actually roll off. Ooh. You know, if you got too much spin on it. It's pretty sweet. I've seen many tournaments won on that hole and many tournaments lost on that hole. So, but you got Jason Day leading over there, shot 5 under today. Of course, they'll make cuts today. His overall is 14 under. Cuts probably going to be, I'm going to guess, 3 over, maybe 4. Usually 10 shots is what they give him. So that should be Day, Spieth. Those guys are playing just on a different level right now. You'll have guys come in and out of the top 10, but Spieth, Day, Adams likes to make an appearance every once in a while. You just got talented golfers. McIlroy hasn't reappeared since his run a couple of years ago, but the guy's still talented. He'll come out. Tiger Woods should be coming back in another couple of weeks, 2 or 3. We'll see what he looks like. I'm still waiting for him to call me to fix him. Because when he does, I will fix his golf.
Hey, I thought we talked about this. The thing that's going to fix Tiger Woods is getting some trim.
Well, we did talk.
This is the honest to God truth about it. It's out in the open now, bro. We get it. Your vice is women. But if it helps your game in your headspace, get it straight again.
He just didn't like the ridicule, you know.
I agree.
Do you remember? Well, you're not going to remember because you're too young. Maybe you read about it. Okay. In the late 80s, when Tyson was going through not it was post Buster Douglas, but it was more. I would call it like the true decline of Tyson. He started having a lot of problems.
You mean the problems with Robin Givens?
Well, this is even after Robin Givens already.
Okay.
He was laying claim to being a Muslim.
Oh, okay.
And they were taking his money. You know, every time that guy did something to deface the religion, and let's face it, Tyson was no angel. He was out there doing some bad stuff. Yeah. They were taking money from him. King was taking money from him. You know, these athletes, they get into the limelight, and I don't ever want to call somebody bad. I don't want to say somebody was wrong. I hate doing that. You know. But I do know if something makes me function so I can achieve something, don't put yourself in a situation where you can't do that anymore. I'm sure he wanted a family. I'm sure that was his dream. But look how that ended for him. Yeah. You know, a driver to the back window and an angry Swedish wife. You know, yeah. So I mean, and he's got kids. You know, yeah. So look, I've always said, Tiger, if that's what it is, like you said, if that's what makes your head settle down, if that's what focuses you, have at it. Have at it, because you're not going to win those last couple of majors you need to catch Nicholas if your head's not on, right? Yeah. I play this game and I play it intensely, okay? I play on my level. I'm as good as it gets on my level. I'm not professional, but I'm as good as it gets on my level. And I consider myself to have one of the strongest head games. I've delivered in some real hard pressure situations. But I do that because I've trained my mind. If Tiger's way of training his mind was to go out and get trim, hey, hook it up the night before. Or the morning of, if that's what really floats you, you know? Yeah. But I didn't like hearing people say, oh, he needs to straighten out. No, he just needs to be himself.
Well, see, here's the thing. And this might be a get the soapbox out moment. This is my problem with situations like this. These athletes are paid millions upon millions. Especially him. He's made truckloads upon truckloads of money from winning tournaments and his sponsorship deals. Now,
you know that his sponsorship money way out
superseded
his playing money.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. He was getting those Happy Gilmore fake checks. The semi-pro? Jackie, where can I cash this check? You got to go to a really big bank.
You got to go to a big
bank. No, this is my problem with it. You have somebody who gets paid millions of dollars, whether it's by sponsors or by their sport or their organization, if you're in a team sport, whatever it is. Just because you're getting paid those millions of dollars and in the quote-unquote limelight, does not mean that us as fans or people that are supporters of him in the regards of buying merchandise and things of that nature or products that they use gives us any right to A, judge somebody, or B, tell them how that they should run their life or fix their fucking life. And that to me was a huge problem and an eye-opener, because as a young adult when this happened with Tiger Woods, it was an eye-opening thing to watch.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because as a young man who, you know, is a regular person who doesn't have that kind of money, in the beginning I didn't understand why it was such a big deal. It was like, oh, he's cheating on his wife. Like, that happens around the world commonly.
Every day.
Commonly. And dudes do it without that kind of money. I know dudes that do it on EBT. So it ain't something that, you know, goes that far in my mind there. But then it was like, this girl came out. Then there was 100 girls that came out. Then there's voicemails. Hey, this is Tiger. All this stuff.
That was funny, by the way, those voicemails.
Yeah. Then he's on the cover of magazines as a cheater and all this stuff. If he does, for whatever reason, cheat on his wife and is unfaithful, that is him and his wife's business. Now, I understand that that's going to be seen because he is such, and at the time, he was such an iconic and polarizing character of the sport.
Yeah.
So, I get it. But, again, this is where the evolution of that entitlement bullshit we had talked about had kind of started to resonate with people. Because they started thinking, oh, well, I watch this guy on TV. I buy his golf clubs or I buy his cleats. I support the sponsorships that he has, Gatorade, Buick, whoever. You know, I bought that stuff because of him. Now he's doing this. Oh, I can tell him. I can say that he's wrong and I can judge him. Really? Because everybody that watches him play, or any other athlete for that matter that makes mistakes, you're perfect. You can tell them all the shit that you want. But because they're millionaires and athletes like that on another level and in a spotlight that we're not as regular, quote unquote, regular people, that gives us the right to say shit like that? I'm sorry, it does not. Yeah. I don't agree with that.
I agree with you 100%.
So if the dude wants some pussy, let him go get some pussy. It ain't a problem. In my mind, it don't bother me. It don't affect my family. It don't affect my relationships. If everybody understands and he has an understanding with whoever he needs to, what's the problem? I mean, and that's me. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel about it.
You even had guys like Nicholas coming out and saying things, and and I'm on the same page as you. My whole thing was like, okay, hold on, man. 5 minutes ago, you were rooting for this guy to beat Nicholas and his record, and now because he's got problems like every other Joe Schmo in the world, albeit his own problem, but just because he's proven to be mortal, all of a sudden we're gonna pull him down and say you don't deserve it. You don't. Come on, bad people get good things all the time, and not to say Tiger's a bad person, but that's just the way this world is. He works his ass off as a golfer. The guy's practice ethic is second to none.
Was a Navy SEAL type deal, or Marine type deal, right?
His dad was Army.
Okay.
So, you stop and think about the way that guy was raised. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for him.
He wasn't the Joe Jackson, sing motherfucker, sing, but it was close.
Yeah, but he had, real regimented upbringing. His training was real regimented. It was real hard. So even as an adult, that guy, I was not surprised when this came out, because the pressure that guy had on him since he was young. What I always said before he did that, I wonder what this guy's outlet is. I wonder what this guy does to kind of detach, because everyday schmoes like me and you, we got to have a detachment. For you, it's basketball. For me, it's golf. When I get on the golf course, I feel like I can get away a little bit. My kids help me get away with a little, being involved in their stuff. I always wondered what this guy's detachment was. What does he do to get his mind off of things? Because, I'm playing for hundreds of dollars, and I'm sweating my balls off trying to calm myself down. This guy's playing for millions, and not only that, but every time he wins, a sponsor says, let me give you some money. Endorse my product. I know we'll sell it. Just let me give you some money. To have that pressure on you, wow. That's got to be crazy. So I always wondered what his outlet was. I always wondered what it was. And it turns out, like most men, it's women. He liked women. He's a man. You shouldn't have got married, Tiger. That was the whole deal.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have got married.
And let's not say, oh, well, poor, pitiful her. Like, don't get me wrong. Should he have been unfaithful? No. You made a commitment. Should have stuck to it as far as marriage goes. I 100% believe that. But she did not. She had her own money, but she got compensated more than fairly.
Yeah. Yes.
So you can't tell me. And here's my bigger problem with this, is that while this happened, now I don't want to say that it has gone on to promote certain things like this, but the exposure that this created definitely paved the way for what we see now with social media. Ezekiel Elliott gets drafted. Was it 2 days?
2 days.
2 days later?
Yeah.
Guess who's up on Twitter? Asleep in a bed next to a naked woman.
Yeah.
And she's the one posting it.
Yeah.
And it happened a few years ago. Julian Edelman.
Yeah.
Same thing. These people, and there was, I don't know, he may have a girlfriend. I don't know. You know what? It sets a bad precedent for not necessarily the athletes, but the people that are doing this.
Yeah.
If I'm one of their friends or one of their women, like, what did you get out of posting the fact that you fucked Ezekiel Elliott on social media? Are you rich now? Do you have more friends now because you had sex with a pro athlete who's now officially going to make some money and going to come up? Because chances are you do that shit, you're never going to hear from him again.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, and here's the next level of that, and you can understand this more than I can as a parent.
Yeah.
On social media, it's not going to go unnoticed that you're going to see your daughter's face on social media doing this because it's a pro athlete.
Yeah.
It's not just somebody's picture that's being passed around amongst buddies. Yeah. You know what I mean? It is out there for the whole world to see.
I saw this meme on Facebook. It's funny because it says what you see when you see your grandma. And it had an old lady from probably like the 30s in a dress, her hair conservatively put up. And then it said what your kids will look at when they see their grandma. And it's some girl in short Daisy Dukes and a bikini top. And it's funny because it's the truth, You don't realize it. This stuff doesn't go away.
Yeah.
What did they really gain? What did she gain out of posting that about Ezekiel Elliott or Julian Edelman for that matter? All these broads that came out with Tiger Woods, all it showed was that, one, he likes women. Hey. Who didn't know that about most guys? Okay, most
He
guys
made the mistake of thinking what his other head. Congratulations, it happens.
Yeah.
You know that.
And I felt bad for the guy. I really did, because that really started the beginning of the end for him. He really hasn't done nothing since then, and I'm pretty sure it's because he's got a mental battle going on in his head. The poor guy can't. He's trying to stay. I don't want to say good, but he's trying to stay good, and
on the open.
And it's just not. It's not flying for him. Now I feel bad for him, because it's like, get off the guy's back. Let's watch him make history. How often? I mean, we talked the other day about LeBron James being a once-in-a-generation athlete. Legitimately, we talked about Michael Jordan. We threw some names out there. Well, guess what? Tiger Woods is a once-in-a-generation golfer. He did more in his major wins than any of the other golfing major winners have. I know he hasn't passed Nicklaus, and he probably never will. He's getting older. Tiger, if you're listening by some fluke chance, I can fix you, baby. Come see me. Come see me. We'll win 17, baby.
Make sure if you're a listener, spread the word. If he's got social media, you put this shit on Facebook, you put it on Twitter, wherever you need to put it to get to Tiger Woods for Manuel.
I will fix you, baby. We'll win this, and we'll win this together for minimum compensation. But he's older. He's probably not going to be able to pass Nicklaus now. They talk about it almost every major. They'll talk about it this weekend at the Players. But this guy, his U.S. Open records, some of the way he just wiped the field for 3 or 4 years, it's ridiculous. This guy was a legit once-in-a-generation golfer. And it's a shame that most people, if they ever say Tiger Woods, are going to say that scandal, his wife's scandal. That's a shame, because it really takes away from what that guy did great. And if he was my friend, he would still be my friend, because you don't ditch your boys in their time of whether you consider it a bad decision or not. You don't ditch them like that. But from what I hear, he got abandoned by a lot of people. Not just the sponsors. The PGA kind of put him out a little bit. He didn't get as much backing. And
I don't think that they kind of put him out a little bit. I kind of think they put him out a lot.
Yeah.
They were like, we're golf. Our nose is up here, and you just did something that somebody below us does.
Yeah.
So
like I said, I felt bad for him, just because it's like, hey, that's his personal business. I know he's a celebrity. I know he's all of this, but the poor guy. I wish we could see the old Tiger, because that guy still had some untapped skill, I think, that we hadn't seen. Kind of like a Jim Brown, the way he took off when he was young. There was still more to see from that guy, and I think there's still more to see from Tiger if he can get his mind right. The guy doesn't need a coach, straight up. He doesn't need a swing coach. He switched from Foley. He's had Harmon, Ledber. He's had these coaches, the best coaches. It's not the coaching he needs, okay? Dare I say it's a life coach that he needs. Just someone to remind him that he's the best. When he steps onto the golf court, there's no one more talented than him. Not McIlroy, not Spieth, okay? This guy is still in the prime. He's still in his 30s.
I don't think he needs a life coach. I think he needs to go see Dennis over at the Bunny Ranch.
You know what? For a small hook, look what happened to Lamar Odom when he was there. True. That didn't end well for Odom.
You can say whatever you want about Tiger Woods and 120 women or whatever it was, but he was never on Viagra, cocaine, and in a coma. So
let's be fair. Lamar Odom was older than Tiger. Is older than Tiger.
That's
Woods.
true.
And we would have never known about that. I started reading some of these articles. It was pretty funny. We would have never heard about Lamar Odom if the bastard would have just fit in Hoff's helicopter.
Yeah.
Because he did not fit in there. They had to call an ambulance.
Yeah.
Poor bastard.
Had to be 6'8".
Yeah, poor bastard. But, yeah, Tiger.
They said 6'8" and soft. That's
after all that Viagra.
They said 6'10" with Viagra, and he was like, can't get in the helicopter. It ain't going to work.
Apparently, he didn't read the memo about you can't take E and Viagra.
Yeah.
It's either or, not both.
He didn't realize where Viagra came from, that it was actually a heart medicine first. And shut it down.
But,
shit.
Yeah, no, that's that scandal stuff, that's nonsense. I don't like being the judge of people. It's not my job to do that. And it's definitely, my job to help them understand right and wrong, maybe, but not to sit there and say
on a more up-to-date level, Johnny Manziel right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I have my opinion, like anybody else, on like what's going on and how, it could be different, but at the end of the day, whether I agree or disagree, it's their life. It's their choices. Oh, yeah. They're people just like the rest of us.
You're starting to see it. Like we were talking about the other day with Manziel. He comes from a wealthy family, probably well raised. Mm-hmm. We don't know. I don't know the guy, but we'll assume that his parents did what they could, like all the parents do. You can't pick the path for your child. You just got to hope that there was enough positive influence. The guy's made his money already. I don't think he's going to make it back. He's going to have to disappear for a year or two to get it together. And by the time, Tim Tebow can't even come back, and that guy didn't do anything to deserve that. Right. But it's hard to be out for 2 years and then try to come back. And that's probably what's going to happen to this guy. He's going to have to sit and rehab himself for 2 years. So he's going to make his money. What's really going to be interesting is to see if he learned enough to take care of himself after that. Because a lot of these young guys get screwed. Vince Young, I know the guy had some issues, but the poor bastard gave an investor, I think it was $10 million, and never saw a dime from it. Yeah. And he's broke. Oh yeah. Like a lot of the professional football players are. But those kids, their upbringing, it'll show. It'll show because a lot of them leave school early. They didn't finish maturing. We've had that conversation before. Yeah. It can be a real ugly thing if you're not careful.
Absolutely. Oh man. So the other thing about the UFC coming up at 199, 198 is tomorrow. 199 is June. Chris Weidman, Luke Rockhold rematch is the main event. Is also the return of BJ Penn. Yep. He was supposed to be fighting Dennis Seaver, but Dennis Seaver pulled out yesterday with an injury.
I saw that. Did they announce
They do have a replacement for him. I didn't catch the guy's name as I read the article, but they do have somebody in place.
Now, how long's Penn been out?
Probably
been a year?
No, it's longer than that.
Has it been longer
It's
than
probably
that?
Closer to 3 to 5.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's been out for a minute.
That should be fun. That guy was fun to watch.
And he's been working over at Jackson Winklejohn, which is where John Jones, Holly Holm, Donald Cerrone, where all those guys train. So it's different. And if he wasn't taking it serious, I don't think he'd do this. The dude lives in Hawaii. He's always trained in Hawaii his entire life. On this comeback he got with Greg Jackson and Winklejohn, and moved to Albuquerque, New Mexico from Hawaii for the last 8 months to make this fight work.
Yeah, don't put me down for that trip.
So something tells me he's all business about this.
Oh man, and the guy's still got heapings amount of talent.
Yeah. So we'll see
how
he does.
And of course, after 199 is 200, and this is my Vegas plug again because I'm going to be at 200.
Did you see who they added to UFC 200 yesterday?
I did not. I'm trying to keep myself surprised. The guys at work have been trying to tell me, and I said, let's just get to that weekend first. Every time we talk about it, I get it hard on, and that's
So you don't want to hear it then?
No, I don't want to hear it. Not yet.
All right.
It ain't time yet.
I'll give you a hint. It's a bantamweight division fight is what they added to the card. Okay. That's what I'll tell you.
We already know that's going to be a great card. So I'm actually...
Excuse me, let me phrase it. Bantamweight men.
Okay.
There you go.
I'm actually hoping that they're going to re-sign McGregor and Diaz for that rematch.
I heard, pure speculation, that there are rumors going around that is going to be set for UFC 202.
Oh.
Which would be September.
Yeah.
Because it gives him time to get to that. That's a big deal. And the other big deal in the UFC is that it's up for sale.
Oh, so they had an offer of, was it $4
billion?
$4 billion.
With a B.
On a $200 million or $2 million investment is what they were saying.
Yep.
Was it 2 or 200?
No, it was...
Was it $2 million investment when they bought it?
When they originally bought it, I believe it was for $2 or $3 million when they bought it, when it was in the ground.
So do you take it?
It depends. I think that if you're the Fertittas, you figure out how loyal you are, because they own businesses. They own a number of casinos in Vegas. They don't need the money. Their portfolios, as far as financial goes, is ridiculous. They don't need it. So I think they kind of talk to Dana White and say, hey, is this something you want to continue to do? Is it? Because he was quoted as saying it's not for sale. That's horseshit. Well, guess what?
It is.
Paperwork came out of the last financial calendar year for them to a group of investors. And it's proof that it's all documentation of what you would send somebody if they were looking at buying your company. So it is for sale. That's a lie. The other thing they asked him was if the company does get sold for whatever reason, whether it's now or sometime in the future, would he continue to be the president?
The face.
And his answer was no.
Yeah, that was part of the big conversation on XM. Yes, I was actually yesterday morning I heard that. And they were saying, will Dana White stay? And... he's known for playing hardball with the fighters,
Well, I think this is a bad deal all the way around. I listened to the Fighter and the Kid podcast this morning. Brendan Schaub and Brian Callen on UFC on Fox on YouTube. The podcast is on, and I believe it's on iTunes also. Brendan Schaub pointed out that he felt it was a good time for Dana White to get out. because no matter how you look at it, the Reebok deal has been a black eye for them. It's been nothing short of a mess. It's only crippled the guys financially. And if you have new guys come in and redo everything and set things up to where the system's not the same anymore, you've been the guy that's enforced all these rules to this point. Why is anybody going to want to play ball with you with guys who are brand new that can come in and change everything and everything you've enforced? Not everything necessarily, but a lot
big chunk of it,
of what you've enforced can be changed.
Yeah.
And if you're buying the company for $2 billion, something tells me that, the fight pay scale, the Conor McGregor argument on getting paid for promotion for all fighters, not just him, but for all fighters, that becomes a legitimate conversation for the new guys.
Well, and not just a conversation, but if you do that, you're going to give the fighters a window to say, hey, now's the time.
Yeah.
Now's the time. We either all step in together and say, hey, fuck you, we want a bigger piece of this pie, or you say, we're okay as long as you don't take our endorsements away. Whatever it is. Me personally, I'd love to see the fighters get together and say, hey, wait a minute, we've been screwed for a long time. You're taking over, fine. But you got to understand that we are the product.
Yeah.
You think you're just going to go grab all these other new guys and give the same kind of product? You're full of shit. They need to band together and say, I hate to say the word, unionize. They need to get together and say, hey, you need to take care of us. We are the most bloodiest, gruesome sport in all of the in the sports world right now, and we need to be paid with the risks that we're taking. Especially when you look at some of these low card boxers that are still making $150 grand, $200 grand. Most of the UFC cards that I watch, and I mostly watch the big cards, but most of the ones I watch, these guys, even the lower the pre-fights, they're good. You get some decent fights out of there. In boxing, you're lucky to get one on the whole card, on the undercard, maybe two. So that would be a perfect time for them to get together and say, hey, we want to be taken care of. You want us to stay here, we'll stay, but because I don't know if a sale, you'd obviously have to look at someone's individual contract, but maybe a sale would constitute their ability to opt out.
With the Reebok deal, I'm not sure how that goes.
Well, not the Reebok. I mean a fighter contract.
Well, no, but it's all included.
Oh, it's all tied,
the Reebok deal is a UFC specific deal.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Yeah.
The same way that Adidas has the NBA. And who is it that has the NFL? Is it Nike now?
It's Nike now, yeah.
That has the NFL. It's a very exclusive deal. Now, what does it constitute in that contract for them to be able to get out of that Reebok deal?
Yeah. So
you know what I mean?
It'd be a time
that's
for
what
them to do
makes
that.
Another promotion like Bellator, even though it's kind of a circus, so much more appealing. Is the fact that there's opportunities financially for them to make more money based on that. They may not be getting the exposure in the fights that you get in the UFC, but guess what? That Skrilla comes back around and it makes a big difference. Money talks.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
So I don't know. Well, you're not on Facebook anymore, but our boy Jay tagged me in a video today. You've seen D'Angelo Williams' participation trophy video?
No.
Oh, you got to watch that. I'll record it and I'll put it up on Instagram. It's a great video because he's talking about his daughter. They went to, I believe it was a track meet, and his daughter runs the first race, and she starts out and she's in first, and she falls back to third, and eventually she ends up sixth, finishes the race sixth, right? So they give first, second, and third, blue, red, and...
The ribbons.
Yeah, they give them 3 ribbons and everybody else in the race gets a participation ribbon. If you don't know my stance on it, I'm just like D'Angelo Williams. So listening to the story...
James Harrison?
James Harrison was the other one, yeah. That's the one that came out during the football season.
Yeah.
So he says, his daughter runs over and says, look, Dad, look what I got. And he says, let me see, baby. And he takes the ribbon and it says participant on it. And he says, no, you can't have this. And she says, why not? He says, because you didn't win. So hold on. So he actually takes it back and says, don't be giving my daughter no ribbon just for participating. If she don't take first, second, or third, she don't get a ribbon. So he hands it back and he walks back over to his daughter. And his daughter says, why couldn't I keep the ribbon, Dad? He says, because you didn't win nothing. You want a ribbon, go get first, second, or third. So her next 3 races, she goes first, third, first.
Incentive.
And I didn't see, I really got to pay attention to who else is in the video, but there's somebody right after that says, we're the ones creating this entitled generation.
Absolutely.
They start that young and we make them feel like, showing up is enough. As long as you show up, you're a winner. Well, that's a bunch of bullshit. You got to do more than show up. You got to get out there and get the job done. In sports, it's called winning. In life, it's called getting the job done. You can't show up to work and do your best and not get anything done and tell your boss, oh, don't worry, I gave it my best.
Yeah.
You know, I showed up and that was enough. It doesn't work like that, you know. And they were talking, it's more kid specific. You know, you get these kids from 5 to 10, 11, maybe 12, the oldest in some places, and you give them participation stuff the whole time. Now they're 13. Let's just talk about a 13-year-old real quick. Emotional, unstable, volatile, stick of dynamite, whatever you want to call them. They're roller coasters. Okay, so now you got a 13-year-old kid who his whole life he's gotten a participation ribbon. You put him in a competition, he loses. He don't know how to deal with it. They don't know how to. You get groomed in that. Okay, there were certain things I learned when I was a kid that I just could not do, and my dad had no. I don't want to call it shame, but he didn't have no problem telling me, "Hey, son, you can't do that. That you're not good. You know, find something else." Is what my dad used to tell me. Find something else. You'll find something. Don't worry, but you keep trying. Did you do your best you could? Yeah, then go find something else because that's obviously not for you. People call that tough love. That's life, okay? I hear dozens of people talk about how they don't like their job. Go get another. Well, I need the money. Then stop complaining, you know? Then put your head down and work. Then do the best you can there. And if you do everything the right way and you follow the rules, something better will come along. That's the way the universe works. That's the way, I believe in God. That's the way God works. Do your job when it's not popular to do it, and you'll get rewarded with something better. So these kids, you know, they get 13. They don't know how to win and lose. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, but by that time, you've already trained the mind to do things, to recognize things. And it takes a long time to undo something you've been trained to do. You know, and a lot of parents, unfortunately, and I was one of them, you don't know how to cope with loss when your kids start losing and to explain to them that all of a sudden it wasn't right. And I'm someone who raised my kids to go, no, I didn't win. I lost. Acknowledge your loss, you know, enjoy your win, you know, move on and learn. And when my girls finally got to the point where they couldn't do something, I didn't know how to react, you know, but I learned with them and we went forward. My kids are not entitled kids to some degree, you know, and but that's a whole other story, you know, but I mean, overall, they know they're going to have to get out there and work and they're going to have to find something that they can be productive at. But this whole video, it was a real good video. I'll see if I can get it up on Instagram, but it's a real good video. And it's coming from a pro sports athlete, which I think makes it bigger because those guys, if anybody knows about winning and losing, it's those guys. Yeah. I got a couple $1,000 check coming to me every couple of weeks for work, and you know, that's more about getting up and doing my job. Those guys got millions riding on the line every time they go to work. You know, so their penalty's a little bit bigger. You don't go to work or you're not successful at work, you could lose what you have. Yeah, you know, you could not be given another opportunity. So
there's somebody out there willing to work just as hard, if not harder.
And I think that's a real good lesson coming from the pro players. But yeah, Jay tagged me in that video on Facebook. It was pretty funny.
Absolutely, I agree with that. The problem that we have now is somewhat it ties together. We've created this entitlement, and it goes along with the soft raising of what we said, pussy kids. Yeah. You know, the fact that, and you and I have had this conversation several times, being in public places, whether it's we're out for a game somewhere for our kids, or we're out having something to eat with our families, or, you know, you and I are out somewhere on a trip, watching kids talk to their parents is ridiculous. And it's not even the sense of, oh, well, you know, I understand they're in public, it's this and that. If some of these kids just one time got a smack, and I'm not talking like, let me bust your lip, give you a black eye smack. I'm talking about just a quick, like you hit a dog on the nose when they won't stop jumping on you kind of smack. Mm-hmm. Just right across the lips. Boom. Real quick. Make a pop sound. Real quick. Watch how quickly they shut the hell up.
And start to listen.
And then all of a sudden there's this, I'm not for entirely like, oh, I got to intimidate the shit out of my kids and that's why they're scared of me, that's why they listen. No, it's about teaching them that you don't get to talk to your parents like that. Yeah. It's the discipline rule. When you act up like that, there's consequences. It's not about, oh, well, I'm trying to scare my kids so that way when I make this face or when I get this mad, they know they're in trouble. No, damn that. They should know from an early age, you're not allowed to do this. There should be boundaries and lines set. And that's the problem. That not only do we have kids having kids, so there's no boundary set because they're kids and they don't understand what the goddamn boundaries are anyway. Yeah. But on top of that, you have the fact that these parents
are so worried about everybody else around them watching them.
Yeah.
I'll give you a prime example. My neighbor has a yard sale probably once a month. He comes over to the house, tells me how they're doing. Says, hey, you'll never guess what happened today. So this kid, who's probably, I think he said like 7, 8 years old, was with his mom. And his mom's looking at clothes at this yard sale. Well, the little kid's looking at the toys, of course. Finds a Nerf football. Walks up to the kid, the mom. Mom, can I have this football? She said, no, put it back. He comes back again. Mom, can I have this football? No, put it back. So he goes away for a little while, and he said she had probably like 3 or 4 shirts in her hand, and he's like, they're like 50 cents a piece, like, something cheap. So finally, kid turns around, comes back to his mom. Mom, I want this football. She goes, no, I told you no, you don't need it. You already have one at home. You don't need another one. She goes, I told you, now go put it back. He goes, I kid you not, dude. This kid was like 7, 8 years old at the oldest. As he walked away, he turned around and looked at his mom and went, oh yeah? Well, fuck you then. 7, 8 years old. If I would have said that to my mother at a yard sale at 7 or 8 years old,
Been missing some teeth.
I'd be talking to you right now with dentures.
Yeah.
For sure. Like, that's real shit. I'd be picking myself up off the floor. You don't talk to your parents like that, let alone your mother.
Yes, for sure.
And I go, what did she do? Like, what was her reaction? And he goes, her only reaction was, get over here now. That was it. I go, if that's me, I'm grabbing that kid by the arm, we're going out to the car, and we're leaving. Straight up leaving. And then when we get home, you're getting an ass whooping. Because when I have kids, I'm 28 years old, and I do believe that I'll have kids at some point in the future. When I have my kids, I don't care how many of you bastards out there think you can't whip your kids, that's beating them. No, I got news for you. There's a difference in disciplining your kids and giving them a whooping and beating the shit out of them.
Yes, there is.
There's something very different. You pick up a electrical cord or a hanger, that's beating the shit out of somebody. You use an open hand and just swat their ass, that's a disciplinary whooping. And I guarantee you, I know you went through it. I know my parents went through it. They got the belt.
Oh, yeah.
I got the belt. And dare I say that at a certain time, I would have said, I'm above that. I am glad now as an adult that I got those whoopings. Because it taught me those levels of discipline, those levels of respect. That you don't act like that. You don't say those things as a child. You don't have a right to say those things because you're just that. You're a child.
Yeah.
You don't get anything as a child.
Yeah, for sure.
And this totally, I believe, resonates with you, that coming from a family that, wasn't always like, oh, hey, we can go to the mall every weekend, we can do this. Like, if you wanted something, you had to go out and work for it.
Yeah, for sure.
You work your ass off now. As your best friend, I can tell you from an outside that there is second to none on how hard you bust your ass and provide for your family. Those kids, I promise, and I can vouch for this, and I definitely think I can speak for you on this, is that they have never wanted for anything as, in their older years as teenagers and young adults.
Yeah.
Because of the life that you've provided for them. But that wasn't just one day you were like, fuck that, I can have whatever I want. It was you busting your ass because you had to go through the process of those disciplinary things. And you've taught your kids the value of those things, They're growing up in a different generation where they're going to have to make decisions for themselves as adults.
Yeah.
But totally agree with, no, you don't get a participation trophy.
Yeah.
Just showing up isn't good enough. If I just showed up at work because I start at 4 a.m, if I showed up and went, hey, I'm here, I'm just going to take a nap because I'm not ready to start yet, but I'm here. Do you think they're going to pay me the same?
Yeah, fire your ass on a heartbeat.
They're going to go ahead and go back to bed at home and don't come back.
Yeah.
They don't play that game. Yeah, I totally agree with that. And I think that there needs to be more of that.
Yes.
Everybody plays, anybody can go to college, anybody can do anything. If you put your mind to something, absolutely, you can do anything. But if you sit here and try to say that, oh, well, I didn't have the opportunity to, or there wasn't nothing here for me, so I couldn't do it. That's a lie. You can do anything you put your mind to. But the realistic part of it is, not everything's for everybody.
Yeah.
Not everybody's meant to go to college. And that's just the real shit of it. It's the same thing that pisses me off when people go, oh, well, because I'm this ethnicity, I got this job. Or because of this card, I got that job. Like, no. Like, you don't have to do those things. If you set your mind to something, you can learn. You can advance yourself and get to a certain point where you can get past those stereotypes, or you can get to the next level of whatever job you're at. But don't sit here and tell me, oh, no, like, it should be given to you. I should get that just because I'm me.
That's a crock of shit.
Yeah, hell no.
Yeah.
You want to do that right now? You grow up, and right now, where you got the biggest argument, and here's a good up-to-date thing for you. This might pull out your soapbox right now. Minimum wage in California going up to $15 an hour over this shit. Now, I started working when I was in high school, and minimum wage when I was in high school was $6.75.
That was a raise for me.
See? You remember when bread was a nickel? Come on. So I definitely remember when it was a whole lot different. I've spent a lot of my post-high school life, I did try college. It wasn't for me. I just didn't go that route. I felt like that's not the route I needed to go. I gave it a shot, though. I tried it. Now, I've busted my ass for the last almost 10 years to sit here and work and advance myself in whatever I needed to make sure that I could keep moving up, whether it's in my company or to a different job, whatever it is. I've had to keep moving, keep going. I've spent 10 years getting to where I am now with benefits, vacation, a good paying job as an entry level into the company that I work for. And you're going to tell me that the company that I work for and the dude that didn't go to school, that didn't graduate, doesn't have a GED even, that's flipping burgers and didn't want to do anything because he thought it was more important to ditch school and go chase ass in high school, is now going to make damn near what I make? I'm sorry, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with rewarding people for mediocrity, and I don't agree with rewarding people for not giving your best effort and not giving a shit. And that's exactly what this is doing. And people go, oh, well, it's great for everybody because it raises things. Guess what, dumbasses? The value of a dollar is going down because all the prices are getting jacked straight through the roof.
Yeah, I heard some interesting opinions on that minimum wage. So Tech Guy just showed me minimum wage. It was Texas, right?
Texas.
Minimum wage in Texas as of this year. $7.25 an hour. I don't. There's so many points of view on this. I've heard so many arguments for it. Bernie Sanders is one of the biggest advocates of no one should struggle to support their family that works 40 hours a week. While I might kind of agree with the statement, there has to be some asterisks
Agree
behind
with the
it.
statement? I think you agree with the sentiment.
The sentiment, okay. Well, not even the statement to some degree, because you shouldn't. Okay, for those of you that do know me, and Justin knows my background. For those of you that know me, I left to the military. It didn't work out. I came back. Okay, 6, 8 months. I don't remember how long. It's been so long already. Okay, I came back. I did my little young adult thing briefly. I met Christina. We had a kid. Within a year. We got married. I had to find myself real quick. One of the things I understood, one of the first jobs I had after I got married, because I had a couple of failed attempts at school. One of the first things that I learned was that working at a fast food restaurant, because I worked at a fast food restaurant to make some money. We were staying with my mom while she was pregnant. But my mom said, hey, you got to work. You kind of have to work. I said, okay, I'll make sure I get a job. Well, I got a job at a fast food restaurant. Now, this will date me. Minimum wage was $4.15 an hour when I took that job. All right. 2 weeks, I think I was making, I want to say $315 in 2 weeks, which I don't want to say it's ridiculous, but it was doing 40 hours a week. Okay. I was on the night shift. I was working from like 5 to close. So I'm doing this for a couple months. Christina has our first daughter, Janessa. Janessa gets born, and I start to realize, okay, one, I didn't pay anything of that birth. We were on Medi-Cal, all right? 2, there's diapers, there's formula now, and we still weren't staying in our own place. Maybe I'm special in a different way, but I knew at that point that fast food wasn't going to cut it, all right? My boss at the time pulls me aside and says, hey, if you're looking, I know you had a kid, if you're looking to do more, maybe we'll make you a shift leader, and you can go up to something like $7 an hour at the time. And I was like, that sounds good, but I got a job offer at a car dealership. was going to pay me like $2 an hour more, and I was going to work Monday to Friday, 8 to 5. So I started to progress my way through the workforce. Maybe one of these days we'll on Flashback Friday, I can give you my whole background, because for 3 or 4 years, I was basically known to my in-laws as the pretender because I was looking for myself. I held a bunch of jobs for several years, but I progressed through the workforce from $4.15 an hour to what I make now. I'm not going to say it on pod, but I make decent money now. I got benefits for me, my wife, and my 4 kids. Okay? I get 3 weeks of paid vacation a year. I get a bonus week every 5th year that I'm with the company. Okay, the company I work for is good, but like any other company, it has its downs, but I'm not a knock. They pay my bills. Okay, I go to work, I put my 40, 50, whatever it is, 60 hours a weekend, whatever's necessary that week, I come home. I pay the bills, I feed the kids. But I worked my way to this point. Nobody gave it to me and said, you deserve a living wage. Because while I did deserve a living wage, that didn't mean that they had to pay me ridiculously. You know, if you just start handing, okay, so I got 3 daughters right now that are working age, okay? My twins are going to graduate in 2 weeks. One of them just turned in her first job application today. If this is 2021, I think, which is when $15 goes into effect. If this is 2021 today, you're going to tell me that my 18-year-old daughter is worth $15 an hour. Well, I'm going to tell you you're full of shit, because she's not, okay? She has no skills. Right now at this point, she doesn't even have her high school diploma. But if it was 2021, we would say, okay, she has her diploma. She has a diploma, she's right out of high school. You're telling me she's worth $15 an hour. I'm telling you she's not. And the reason I'm telling you she's not is because if we give her $15 an hour, I think that came out to what, $30,000 a year?
I believe so.
30 or 31,000 a year? Man, I was in my late 20s before I made that kind of money. And not only that, but if we're going to pay people $31,000 a year, then they should be saddled with the same responsibilities that people that made $31,000 a year before had, which is paying for your insurance out of your check through some kind of company insurance, or having, hey, now guess what? You guys just put yourselves in the higher level of Obamacare, and that shit ain't cheap, you know? I agree. People that work 40 hours should be able to support their families, but understand where you're working $40 an hour, okay? I know field workers who work their asses off for 40 hours a week. They fought long and hard to get the wages that they get and the conditions they get. And guess what? That job hasn't changed in 50 years. That's the same job it was, okay? Now you're seeing some of these fast food restaurants start to get rid of these jobs. Well, there's a problem. I didn't go to school. Justin didn't go to school after high school. Where do people like us go now to start? If they're going to start getting rid of all of these entry-level jobs at places because it's too expensive, where do they go? Where do we send our kids to help put themselves through college? Because that's really what those jobs were for. Now, I was at the Capitol with my son on a field trip when this rally was going on. One of the most disturbing things I saw over there was that this initiative was backed by a lot of union people. I have a problem with that. Unions are supposed to negotiate wages with their company. Don't put the general public on the hook because you guys can't negotiate with your company, because your membership is not strong enough to negotiate with your company. I am in a union, and I'm telling you, union workers, if you were petitioning for $15 an hour, you were at the wrong place. You elected the wrong leadership. Quit making other people pay for your stupid mistakes, your stupid decisions. All right? If you don't like the people that are negotiating for you, guess what? Vote someone else in then. It's the same thing with the way the country gets. All right? You don't like the leadership running the country, vote somebody else in. Be a bigger part of it. But this thing was heavily union-backed. Minimum entry-level workers, even in the union now, will start at that money at 2021, you know? But guess what they're not talking about? I've been doing my job for 15 years. They're not talking about giving me a raise, you know? They're going to bring the bottom closer to the top but not move the ceiling higher? Oh, I don't know. Somebody forgot about the people who had put in the time already, and you're worried too much about the people who haven't put in the time. Put in the work. We're giving them things. We're handing things out now, and that's where this starts to get ridiculous. Where are we at on time?
About an hour 5. Hour 3.
Hour 3?
Yeah.
Let's wrap this one up.
Yep. All right. So Monday is going to be our first wrestling episode.
Justin thinks he's bringing in a wrestling guru.
No, I'm not a guru, but
okay. He knows his wrestling.
Yeah.
So Monday you get to see how much wrestling I know. but it ain't gonna be no 2000 crap. Right? As modern as I get with WWF.
It used to be.
All right,
hey, don't be disrespecting the World Wildlife Foundation, okay?
Is Stone Cold Steve Austin and D-Generation X.
That'll be some good.
That's as new school as I get.
Yeah.
You know, I stopped watching.
We might have to make Monday a two-parter depending on how it goes.
We might have to, but he's bringing in a buddy of his that knows some wrestling. We'll talk some more wrestling on Monday.
We'll recap the weekend in sports like always. We'll talk some wrestling on Monday, and we'll see what else happens. I'm sure there'll be an eventful weekend. With
always interesting. Drink some Coronas, that's for sure.
Enjoy your weekend.
Have a good weekend.
We've been totally unprofessional. We'll see you Monday.